Hi there, this is Dr. Sage Breslin, and this is Wisdom Wednesdays. So, have you ever been hijacked? No, not in a plane, but hijacked emotionally. So many of us have had the experience of being around people, and maybe one person is in a bad mood, and suddenly we discover that we're not feeling that great, and we might even leave the situation because we don't feel good anymore. We get home and we're sort of down in the dumps, and maybe our spouse or our kids say, like, "What's up with you?" And we don't really know. We can't even really explain it because nothing's happened, except that something has. In as much as some of us would consider that normal, it's not normal. It's evidence that in certain circumstances, we haven't been able to maintain our boundaries. So boundaries is a word that gets thrown around a lot. And I suppose that it would be easy to say, oh, my boundaries have been breached when somebody says something cruel or walks into your office without an invitation or something easy like that. But we have these boundaries that we keep erected around us that actually keep us healthy and safe. And they ensure that we don't take on other people's feelings and experiences. So I'll just share a little bit about kind of what my own experience has been. I consider myself fairly good at this stuff. I'm a pretty well-boundaried person. I share a lot, but when things are private, they remain private. I don't, as a rule, bend and sway with other people's emotions. I guess that makes me a good clinician. But the other day, I was working really hard. And I had a long day, and then I raced home, and I ended up sitting up with a kind of a distant friend, and I realized I was getting tired, but I was really enjoying myself. So I thought, well, I'll just stay up a little longer. And by the time I got to bed, I think I was really exhausted. And in the morning, I discovered something very unfortunate, and I watched it tank my mood. And so I did the thing that I'm supposed to do, right? Which is I walked the dog, I did gardening, I did a lot of these coping strategies to sort of get all of that stuff out of my body so that it wasn't kind of like a ping pong ball, inside. And it worked to a certain degree, but then I noticed that I was still kind of not feeling perfect. I'm not feeling great. So I, did some journaling, and I talked to a colleague, and, I felt better, just tired. So I walked into my week. I excited to see the people I was going to see and talk to the people I was going to talk to that day. But my last session was really heavier than normal. And I mean, I'm a trauma psychologist, so it's kind of part of, the job. But there was just something about it that was heavy. And by the time I got home, my kids said, "Mom, are you okay?" And I said, "I just feel like crying. I'm just feel like overwhelmed and confused by all of this." And that's about the time I realized I got hijacked. And what I mean by that is that I was tired. I didn't have probably my normal complement of energy to make sure my boundaries were right in place and holding steady. And I was working with someone who just had a lot of feelings. They were swimming all around the room. And normally my job is to ensure that my clients take their emotions home with them and take those experiences and walk back out the door, because they belong to the other people that didn't belong to me. But somehow, because I was tired and exhausted and a little bit emotionally spun by what had occurred during the weekend, I didn't probably have the focus on my boundaries and the fact that I took home some of that emotion that was swimming all around me during the session. Once I figured it out, I was able to just sit down and do a 5-minute meditation, very short. And all I did was allow that to wash through me. I have something called the rainbow net meditation. In fact, you can get it on my website, where you imagine, the size of a pool net, right? And you pull it down through your body, and whatever remnants are left behind are effectively moved off you. So let's say everybody you've interacted with that day has their own particular color. And when you go inside in meditation, you sort of look within, and maybe 3 of those colors have somehow gotten stuck to you. So you take a rainbow net, you take the net, right, of the first color, like yellow, and you sweep it through. And all that yellow goes to person A. And then maybe you say, okay, that's good, but I still see some green, and that's not my color. So green net goes through, shakes off to the person with the green energy. And maybe now you have both your energy and a red energy. And you're like, well, the red's not mine. In goes the red net, right? All the way through and to the person whose energy is red. And what you're left behind with is your own core energy. Now, I don't know that these energies actually have a color. It's just a way to understand that when other people are around us, if we relax our boundaries to a certain degree, we may unconsciously agree to take on some of that energy from other people. So even though we do that, it's probably not great, because it takes our energy to keep hold of their energy, and it can take our mood. So once I figured it out, I was able to just sweep myself clean, and I felt like myself again. I was aware of the experiences, but I no longer felt like I was carrying around some other person. And that's exactly what it felt like. So if you are in certain circumstances where you feel like you're taking on feelings from other people, you just want to take a look and ask yourself why. Now, you've heard me talk a lot about, unhealthy relationships, especially toxic relationships. And we know that in toxic relationships, oftentimes one partner will be spewing whatever, and the other partner will be taking care of that and taking care of that and taking care of that. And it's one thing to take care of that by sweeping it through. It would be entirely another thing to take it on. That can cause disease. It can cause emotional difficulties. It's certainly going to have some energetic whacks that aren't going to work for you. So in unhealthy relationships, it makes sense that we feel like in order to remain in them, we have to adopt to the other person's truth, including, if part of the deal is you deal with the emotions, thank you very much, then that's what's going to happen. And part of getting healthy is not just getting out of the unhealthy relationship, but learning how to better boundary the self and also give back anything you may inadvertently take on, or consciously. But the healthier folks amongst us, it's inadvertent. It's the accidental magnet to other people's stuff. And know that it's not that difficult to learn to sweep it out or clear your energy field so that you are dealing with you and they are dealing with them, and never the twain shall meet. This is Wisdom Wednesdays, and I want to invite you to make sure that your boundaries are in good working order and that you don't take on anything that doesn't belong to you. Take good care.